Jason, well, after the news about Coal Creek Station, I thought it would make sense for us to jump on a quick video chat here and talk about the LEC's reaction and your thoughts about the industry moving forward. So, just in general, what's your reaction to the news about Coal Creek Station?
Yeah, I'm disappointed. Everybody in the industry is disappointed. Like everybody else, we kind of heard rumors of changes and suspected that this was one of the options. So I guess in that sense, it's nice to have certainty as to what's going on so the rumors stop. But this is a bad outcome. This is disappointing and frustrating, not just for the lignite energy industry, but for the entire region.
Yeah. How many people were affected by this decision? What does it look like to the region?
Yeah, we do a good job of quantifying the coal jobs. There's about 600 coal jobs that are directly impacted. And beyond that, there's also going to be significant changes at the ethanol facility and elsewhere. And, we talk about those numbers like they don't mean anything, but it's 700 people who are going home today that know they don't have a job in a couple of years. That psychologically is really crushing right now. And that's really what's motivating us to try and find a way forward.
Just a simple question, but probably a very complex answer. What caused this to happen?
Yeah, it is. The easy answer is to say, hey, economic conditions have changed. They have changed a lot in the last decade. But I also don't think it answers the full question to just say economic conditions changed it. You have to say then, well, what caused the changes in economic conditions? And that's where it gets hard to answer. Well, it's easy to say that we've had a lot of cheap natural gas. That's true. It's also accurate to say that without heavily subsidized wind, the plant would still be operating. So I guess we could argue about which straw broke the camel's back, cheap gas or subsidized renewables. We don't know the answer to that, but what we do know is we, as a country, purposefully added a bunch of straw to a camel that was already struggling. And that's the unfortunate part.
So how do you think the political environment has influenced this decision?
Minnesota has been anti-fossil fuel for years. It has attempted to influence regional states and their energy policies for years. Even in this situation, you can see how differences in that challenging marketplace, how the political or regional environment has influenced those decisions. For instance, a North Dakota company like Minn Kota is operating in the same really difficult economic environment. They responded by making significant investments to try and monetize the CO2 and improve their economic condition. Whereas a Minnesota company like GRE maybe doesn't have that political support to make those investments. So their response to the challenging economic conditions in coal is just to back that out. So obviously the political environment influences how a company approaches a difficult situation. A Minnesota company is not going to get much political support to be competitive in the coal industry.
So, what's next really for Coal Creek? Is it really going to close? Are there options that are on the table that we can, go down as an industry?
Yeah, that's a hard question to answer. Will it really close? It's on a very tight timeline. We don't have a lot of room in the runway to find an alternative. What we do know is we need to properly value every attribute in the Coal Creek universe. So that includes the power, which they've been selling, but we know that's not competitive. So you need to value the resilient attribute that plant has. You need to value the opportunity for carbon capture sequestration. We need to value that DC line. We need to value the coal reserve. GRE was only able to monetize some of those positive attributes, not all of them. And so over the next 2 years, it's our job to work to capitalize and monetize all of those positive attributes. And if we can do so, maybe we can change this trajectory.
Yeah. What would you say to the employees at Falkirk mine, which serve Coal Creek Station and are adjacent there, and what would your message be to those workers?
That we are doing all we can to keep them employed. that we recognize them. We know who they are. We know that they're human beings, and we can't just treat them like disposable jobs. We can't just say, hey, go get a job in the renewable industry. Go do something different. No, this is where they want to live. This is the job they want to have. It's not fair for us to say, hey, don't worry, we'll help you get another job doing whatever. No, we need to fight for their quality of life that they have right now. Interesting thing, when I was taking this job, one of the first phone calls I made ended up being to an employee at Falkirk Mine. And I was talking to her about, hey, what's it like in North Dakota? What are these things? And it was her that, made me feel like happy and excited to move here, because she talked about the quality of life and some of these things. And these employees at the mines and the power plants are awesome ambassadors of what we do here in North Dakota. Mm-hmm. And we can't let that go to waste. We can't just ignore them.
Yeah. And just to wrap this up, I mean, what's kind of the plan, or from your perspective, on working with elected officials as we move forward to come up with some sort of alternative solutions?
Ball's in our court. I think what GRE laid out today is one of the worst possible case scenarios, which is closure in 2022. Now it's up to us, the Lignite Council, our other member companies, our federal delegation, our state policymakers, the governor. We all now have to come together and find alternatives and say, we know what the worst case scenario is. Let's find a better case scenario. And then we can involve the employees, then we can involve the entire communities and go get that alternative case. We need to make it happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, thanks for jumping on real quick. And as always, you will want to stay in touch with the Lignite Council, lignite.com, and continue to follow the updates that we can provide from our perspective. Thanks.